What it do, YouTube? This your girl, Deborah Donna 7, coming live and direct from my kitchen on a Sunday morning with my baby in my arms. So I'm apologizing at the very beginning of this video for the interruptions. I am wondering to myself why human beings don't recognize the power within themselves to recognize the power within themselves. I just don't understand it. I don't understand. Okay. See, I got to get my thoughts together. The first thing I want to say is I've seen spiritual propaganda lately that is no different than the brainwashing techniques that they do in church, but they're brainwashing people towards spirituality, which is crazy. Because, I think free will is one of the greatest gifts that was ever given to the human experience. I don't think it should be taken lightly or, just not respected. And number two, I don't understand how people can ask somebody else for their own answers to their own life. That it makes an oxymoron out of church. You can point somebody in the right direction, but their path is their path. Nobody can walk their path but them. Number three, I think the biggest human injustice is the illusion of eliteness. And I was reading the raw material a couple of months ago, and I said that everything I've ever read, this was like the most informative package of information in one setting that I've ever read. It was a lot of truths in it. I mean, I read all 5 books. There are 5 books to the Law 1 series. I read all 5 books. It was the greatest package of spiritual truth that I ever read. And the crazy part is, who turned me on to the raw material was another, it was a spiritual group called The Reluctant Messenger on Yahoo Groups. Turned me on to this article that was like embedded in this other article, and I had actually clicked on a message from the article, and this other article popped up, which was talking about the guy that was talking said he was a descendant of Lucifer, and he was part of the royal bloodlines of the so-called Illuminati. But he turned me on to the raw material. Said it was 90% accurate. Said, he was a 6th dimension being, and once you get to the 6th dimension, you realize everything is for a greater good, including evil. And turned me on to it. So I read it, and they were talking about everything that came into this existence that was supposed to be pure got corrupted. The pyramids, that they gave the knowledge of the pyramids to them, and then they wanted to only use the knowledge for the pharaohs and their people instead of the common people. Feeling of separation, feeling of better than, even the mystery schools that, I just felt like, I'm not going to say why make a school, but, they were really taught on codes. And there's this, this feeling of better than that divides the human race, splinters it in so many different ways. For example, you got white supremacists, you got black supremacists. You got white supremacists thinking they're better than black people because of their bloodline. You got black supremacists thinking they're better than white people because of their bloodline. And in the beginning of the creation of man, there were 3 different strands of DNA that first hit the earth that mutated to 12 strands. It's like you could have both been here at the same time at millions of years ago. Why the fuck are you fighting? It's so stupid. But when I say the power is in you, okay, we had a bunch of spirits in our house last week. Lights flickering on and off, shit jumping off of shelves, pictures falling off the wall. It was just on and on and on. And every day it was like freaking everybody in my house out. And my daughter went in her room and the picture fell off the wall and the light started flickering. She comes to my room talking about some call a priest, bless the room with holy water. Da, 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 da. I said, what make you think that priest could do something you can't do? The only difference between you and that priest is that priest knows his power and you don't. That priest ain't no better than you. You could do the same thing you need somebody else to do. I don't understand. Then they pushing me, go in the room, go in the room, go in the room. My wife talking about something. In a minute, I'm going to tell you to put on your minister's collar. Because all the ministers at my old church, we all dressed with the collars. So I got the whole get up. It's like, I'm going to tell you to put on that. And I'm like, what make you think you can't do it? All I'm going to do is walk in here and politely say, hey, you know, I feel you wanting to come around. I appreciate it. But you're freaking the kids out. I'm going to need you to stop scaring everybody, which is what I did. And since then, we haven't had one episode. What was so hard about that? I don't know. Maybe it's me. Okay. My friend says about me, she says that I look at things differently because a lot of things develop in me naturally. Okay. I know that. You know, the phenomenon happens and then I go seek the definition. Get off my table. Get down. Hold on one second. Get down off my table. Get down. My cat crawling on the table. So, I understand that. And I'm not telling people to actively seek things out. But it's like then you start identifying with those things and you're not realizing who you really are. The roles you play might be spiritual seeker or spiritual guide or a spiritual teacher. But that's still not who you are. That's just a role you play while you're here. Who you are is a piece of the divine that was sent here encased in the body to experience and grow. You're the creator experiencing itself. I don't, like, why would you ask somebody else what's the purpose of your life? How the fuck would they know why you here? You know, that's for you to find out. That's for you to know. That's for you to seek out. You can't ask somebody else, why are we here on earth? Why do you think the answer is hidden? Because it's hidden so you can seek it out, not just so you can ask somebody else. My point is, don't expect to get the answers you need just from watching somebody else. You have to do a lot of soul searching. There's a lot of things that you have to look within yourself. And even, like, for instance, I'm going to give you a good example. I cannot meditate like I want to because I have 6 children and a wife. A lot of things gets dumped in my spirit. I think a lot at night, you know. I just keep myself open and I pour over my feelings. But I honestly feel like don't settle. Don't settle. Don't settle for anything. Don't settle for nothing because the truth is you don't actually know for sure anything. There are no such things as facts on this planet. There's no such things as facts. It's all theory. And even when you say it cannot be, it can be proven. 2 + 2 is 4. Who created the 2? Who created the number? Somebody had to tell somebody that. Somebody had to think of it, tell somebody else, to tell somebody else for it to become a mathematical system. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything comes from, my cat fell off the table. Everything comes from somebody or something. You know, everything comes from somebody's revelation. And all you're doing when you're getting knowledge, all you're doing is learning what somebody else either got revealed to them through inspiration or they learned from somebody else. It's tidbits. It's pieces. You can't say what's truth for sure because nobody knows the truth for sure. You can't say, well, when I die, I'm going to heaven because you don't know that. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's up there. The crazy part is the people that have had near-death experiences, some people have experienced the heaven, some people have experienced the hell, some people have experienced different dimensions and different worlds, and knowledge is different. How do you know? I don't like infringements of free will, and I don't like, you know, Okay, I'm going to tell you a problem that I have. I have a problem with, okay, a friend of mine told me that her pastor said you should never follow a pastor who would tell you all the right stuff and not admit they wrong stuff. Who's going to do that in authority? As soon as they admit they wrong stuff, you're not going to want to listen to them because you're going to think they're nothing like you, which is exactly the truth. They're just like you. So any authority figure who'll go, yeah, I do this. You're going to be like, oh, no, I can't listen to you. You ain't no different than me. I'm looking for something different. Even in the Bible, Jesus got pissed off when they went in the damn temple and he saw the fuckery that was going on. And he overturned some tables. Nobody mentions that as Jesus gets pissed off. They always try to make it seem like he transcended emotions and he was perfect. Apparently not. His self-control didn't kick in and he didn't refrain from fucking up some tables, you know. But my point is, when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he got scared. So here we go, anger, fear. When Lazarus died, he was overcome with grief and cried, even though he knew he had the power to raise him. Anger, grief, and sadness. Why is it that people don't acknowledge that Jesus was human just like they were? Because then the whole delusion of the infallible God's son, only begotten son, will go straight clean out the window. Because then you'll recognize that he was no different than you, even though in reality he was no different than you. Like I told somebody, what's the difference between Jesus and Chris Angel? I'm not trying to be funny, but Chris Angel walked on water. You might say he's an illusionist, but that man got some gifts. Jesus had some gifts. And furthermore, would you follow Jesus if he didn't have those powers? If he didn't have the power to raise the dead and heal the sick, would you believe he was the only begotten Son of God? If he was just like you and me, everyday average Joe who just had a new way of thinking about things, would he have really been listened to? Would there have been a book written called the Bible? No. He had to be on some spectacular, I can do something that you can't do shit in order for you to listen, for him to say you could do the same thing. But people still don't get it. They still think, oh, Jesus did it. Jesus did it. Jesus saved me. Jesus could do it. I can't do it. I'm just a lowly person. It's crazy, the idea of illusion. Like I told my daughter, I don't know who I was talking to. But I was like, what's the difference between you and a priest? You think priests don't get horny? Huh? You think they don't think about fucking somebody up for I don't give a fuck what they portraying to you. I'm talking about their inner dialogue, their inner conversation. You think their inner conversation sometimes they fucked up? You think sometimes they be like, man, I'm going to leave this shit. This is some bullshit up in here. I can't do nothing. You don't think they get frustrated? You think they just transcend the human experience, huh? The human experience will always be. The human experience will always be. It will always be. And it is meant to be acknowledged. It is meant to be recognized. And it is meant to be observed. You can say, I'm not going to display any type of negative behavior. Quote unquote. Just like given my dialogue and the way I spit things out to you, I can say, okay, I'm going to refrain from profanity so everything will be nicely painted for you in the most beautiful, loving light possible. But that's not me. I walk both sides, I walk illusion and reality. I walk both sides. I walk heaven and earth. I walk both sides. Therefore, I can relate to both sides. Let me tell you something that got dropped in my spirit the other day, and then I'm through. The further you evolve, the more your perception gets pulled back. For instance, how do you know that the earth is not being controlled by a bigger, better earth somewhere else, and we're just puppets? How do you know that? Because a lot of people can't go past their own perception of what is known here. For instance, the solar systems, the planets, the galaxies, the universal laws that they are aware of, gravity, electromagnetic field, things like that, things that they know that have been proved, mathematical equations or tangible that they can touch, taste, and hear and see and everything and feel. They They only know that. And see, they only know that. What about the bigger things that you can't see? They say that the human eye can only see like 5% of what's actually in front of them in the electromagnetic field. They can only see 5% of it. So what about the 95% that you can't see? Maybe 5 or 15% scientifically proven. It's either 5, 9, 5. I don't even remember because I read it the other day. But what about the things that you can't see? What about the world behind the world that you can't see? What about that? You know? And you acknowledge that it exists, but you just don't know. You acknowledge that emotions are contagious. If somebody's in pain, it makes you be in pain to see them in pain. But don't nobody know why. What's the human link, you know, between that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't understand why people don't understand their own divinity. Once your perception gets pulled back and you see a bigger spectrum, like I said, it's like going through a maze, right? And you're for sure you got that maze down pat. You know what every dead end is in that maze. Bam. Baby, let me tell you something. When you get to the end of that maze, all you doing is going to a gateway of a bigger maze. Now you got a bigger, that's what evolution is. That's what life is. That's what the ascension process is. That's what different, you know, different. Yeah, there are certain things that you're going to shed now. You might shed suffering. You might shed pain. But when you ascend and you evolve, there's other lessons for you to learn. All you're doing is going into a bigger base, my friend. I wouldn't worry so much about other people because everybody has different paths. And the power for your own path is inside of yourself. The power to do whatever you want to do with your life is inside your own self. You don't have to look to the preacher to tell you what you need to do. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what you're supposed to be doing. And can't no prophet tell you something that you don't already know. It's a rule. You know what you're supposed to be doing. I'm just putting it out there for the powerless, for those who feel like they're powerless. You're not. You're not. You got to start trusting yourself and trusting your own divinity and trusting the piece of you, you know, the piece of you that is in this earth. You begin to trust yourself. When you seek yourself, you'll find God. When you seek God, you'll find yourself. So, I'm gone. Peace, love, and blessings to you.